Communism. That one scary word that Republicans have been using to keep maggots in line since before Trump was born, a very long time ago. Like the word socialism, it's one of the terms that MAGA has trouble giving the definition of, like woke or common sense. And from the way they talk about AOC, Bernie, and Kamala, you would think that this country is on the brink of turning into the Soviet bloc, or that the CCP is going to make us all do whatever they call their version of the marching band, as seen here. Real quick, before we dive into Trump's communist order, if you enjoy this sort of coverage and you want to join our resistance, good news. It's free and easy. You just got to subscribe to Really American. Thank you to all who've joined already.
Thank you.
God's least favorite child, Stephen Miller, has been very vocal about the very scary socialist communist strategy of implementing price controls. Here's a tweet from August of last year. Trump delivered record prosperity. Kamala is delivering socialist price controls. New policy proposals from Comrade Kamala. First thing on the list, Soviet price controls. Today, Comrade Kamala will propose communist price controls. If she wins, get ready for the breadlines. Price controls are communist and lead to famine. And he's not the only one. Here's Marco Rubio, whose family is Cuban and knows firsthand the horrors of communist rule. Marco posted again in August, Kamala wants to bring America the policies of leaders in countries millions of people have fled. Hashtag price controls. Even the big man himself, and I do mean big man, Donald Trump, has railed against the evils of price controls. He tweeted back in August, interestingly on the very same day, August 16th, almost as if these guys are just regurgitating the same talking points. He said, if you think things are expensive now, they will get 100 times worse if Kamala gets president for 4 years. As under her plan, Kamala will implement Soviet-style price controls. So you can imagine the surprise on the faces of socialists and communists everywhere when Trump said this morning.
So for the first time in many years, we'll slash the cost of prescription drugs and we will bring fairness to America. Drug prices will come down by much more, really, if you think 59. If you think of a drug that is sometimes 10 times more expensive, it's much more than the 59%, it depends on the way you want to analyze it, but in one way you could analyze it that way. But between 59 and 80, and I guess even 90%.
This comes after a massive rant where Trump laments the fact that drug prices are more expensive here in the U.S. than anywhere else in the world. A very real problem, but one he only wants to try to solve in order to win some points, because his tariffs continue to spell disaster. Trump whines, for many years, the world has wondered why prescription drugs and pharmaceuticals in the United States of America were so much higher in price than they were in any other nation, sometimes being 5 to 10 times more expensive than the same drug, manufactured in the exact same laboratory or plant by the same company. I will be signing one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. Prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 30 to 80%. They will rise throughout the world in order to equalize, and whereby the United States will pay the same price as the nation that pays the lowest anywhere in the world.
It's not price control, no. What was price control is before. If you want to talk about price control is what they were doing. They were making us pay. They set a price, and they said, here's what we're going to pay, and anything else charge America. Because at that time they had a very stupid president, and it really went crazy during the last 4 years. And remember this, the Democrats are the ones that allowed this to happen. They were the ones that were the protector of this pricing system.
And just like that, Trump switches on a dime to whatever serves him best. He has no strongly held convictions except that he should be on top. And like the little robots his subordinates are, they accepted their new programming without a hitch. They are quite literally living out this meme, which perfectly sums it up. Right-wing influencer. Price control is communism. Bad chip taken out, good chip clicked in. Price control will save America. Like the whipped dog he is, J.D. Vance rushes to blow hot air up Trump's ass like he's a balloon in Santa Fe, posting a screenshot of Trump's rant and saying, boss is on fire today. Calm down, J.D. Vance. He's not going to have sex with you. Michael F. Cannon from the Cato Institute wrote a great article diving into the details of this executive order, and I think it's really illuminating, so we'll spend some time reading that. Here's the headline: Trump attempts price controls on prescription drugs. I'm usually the guy reminding everybody it's not a price control when the government reduces the price it pays for drugs. I expected that I would be singing that tune again this morning when President Trump released an executive order on drug pricing. To my knowledge, Trump has never taken any steps to impose actual price controls on prescription drugs. I was wrong. Unlike the Inflation Reduction Act or Trump's past proposals, Trump's executive order is an attempt to impose government price controls on pharmaceuticals. Today, Trump ordered the Department of Health and Human Services to communicate price targets to pharmaceutical manufacturers. Trump does not in any way suggest those price targets would apply only to the prices the government pays for medicines. If HHS determines that pharmaceutical manufacturers have failed to make significant progress, whatever that means, toward those targets, things get ugly. In that event, Trump commands HHS shall, to the extent consistent with the law, impose most favored nation pricing. The Department of Justice and FTC shall undertake enforcement action against any anti-competitive practices. The Commerce Department and other agencies shall consider all necessary actions regarding the export of pharmaceutical drugs or precursor material. The Food and Drug Administration shall review and potentially modify or revoke approvals for granted drugs. All federal agencies shall take all action available to address global freeloading and price discrimination against American patients. Trump's executive order is a laundry list of coercive actions he plans to take against drug companies that do not make significant progress towards his price targets. The federal government does countless things that increase prices for pharmaceuticals. If Trump wants to reduce drug prices, there are several steps he can take, and steps that he should push Congress to take. Price controls are never the answer. If Trump were serious about reducing drug prices, for example, he could unilaterally implement what I recommended late last year. The administration should expand Executive Order 13938 by directing the Secretary to finalize a regulation that waives the prohibition on reimportation for all classes of drugs and devices from all organizations for economic cooperation and development member nations. That one measure would reduce the trade barrier that enables the very price discrimination that vexes Trump. Instead, Trump lamely directs the HHS secretary to consider allowing more reimportation, after which he could maybe ask the FDA to describe circumstances under which U.S. residents could import prescription drugs, but only on a case-by-case basis. Trump benefits so much from how stupid his average voter is. They can't tell their elbow from their assholes. So when he implements a clearly non-free market policy, they all clap like seals, failing to see the hypocrisy. Do I think we pay too much for prescription drugs? Hell yes, I do. But I also don't think that this is a long-term solution to the problem, and it's more of a desperate attempt to control an already dire situation that's getting worse by the day. Even Trump's wins are hollow and misleading, much like his marriage. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.